Hi guys, and welcome back to another episode of Let's Build an Airport. So holy hell, it took a while to get this out. And I was planning on just starting the terminal, just starting really simply, but then I realised kind of afterwards, Jag put up a video and I was like, I've got to actually build the runway. Get all the markings done, and I was thinking that wouldn't take too long. Well, it took a good week or so. So it has taken a little bit of time, but the reason that I've got that done is so that I can tell you guys, my dimensions, what I've actually done with mine, with help from Jag, and I'll put Jag's video in the actual description because he goes through his military airport, and also he has a different, kind of, in a way, a different set of markings, even though they're the same markings, but different dimensions and different scale, as mine's about half the size now. And also what I've had to do, what I've had to actually change from my original, however much it was, 47 by 450 I think it was. Mine's now over 800 meters long. So that was mainly because of the markings. It was also because you guys were saying about, make it a bit longer as well, because you'll need to. And you really do. I didn't realize at this scale, where everything's going. But you can kind of see the clear markings that I've got. I've actually got this kind of blastway here. This is the area that the planes actually come onto and then take off, where you got the threshold here. So I'm going to have my the joining in bits, wherever the planes actually come in, going to be coming onto this side. They'll then line themselves up, and then they can actually start, and you can see these arrows going there. I've also got the markings here with the big R, and also 09, which is to do with degrees of where you're landing. This will then go down, some more lines, pretty simple. And I've tried to make mine as easy as possible, so when I go through it and talk you guys through what I've done, you'll be able to copy it down. So I've kind of gone less realistic to make it easier for you guys. But if it works, it works. Then you've got the bigger lines here as well. This is actually the middle of the runway. So I've actually just used that as, in a way, a marker. And it's a little bit easier to actually show you guys what I've done with this. And then, hopefully, as you can see, going on for quite a while now, we'll actually get to the end where it starts to mirror itself. But the only difference is I've got 27, so 27 instead. Now, I have seen some that haven't got the R, they've got an L on the other side, and I'm not 100% sure what that means. I've tried to have a look, but yeah, not as much information as you would expect, mainly because there's so many different ones. And then I've got the same on the other side, so when they're taking off or landing in different directions. Now, mine is a little bit different, obviously, because mine's right next to a mountain. So realistically, they're only going to be able to land and take off in one direction. But since the ocean is all the way over there, when they're actually taking off, they are taking it off into the wind. So thanks to you guys that told me that information as well. So that's logically how it would go. Obviously, when they're landing, the wind changes on my map. That's all I'm going to say. It's Minecraft. It doesn't matter, as long as you kind of get it roughly right. So yeah, this is what I've got. So what I'm going to do is I'll just quickly switch into... Actually, I'll show you quickly the end and what I'm going to have to change about my world. Now this, yeah, it was, hundreds of blocks over what I was planning in the beginning. As, airports, runways, huge, seriously huge. Any time that you guys plan one, add an extra 1,000 blocks just to make sure. But what I'm going to actually do with mine, and I've seen this on Jag's world as well, which looks awesome. Because we're so close to a junction over here on the road, where I've actually got the suburbs, I've got them all the way over here. What I'm actually going to do is have this road go underneath the runway. I think that's the only real way I can do it. Otherwise, well, you're just going to get cars blown off the road by the jets as they're landing. Not a great idea. So this one is going to go underneath like a little tunnel and then come around the other side of the airport. That sounds pretty cool. So we got to keep that in mind as well. You can see the little lone pine here as well, the little town itself, at least getting started. So let's open up MC Edit, and I'm just going to load up the map and show you guys my exact dimensions. Okay, and here we are in MC Edit, and you can see quite clearly this is definitely a runway, which is good, because that means that we're doing something right. So you can see that I've done mine slightly differently. I did have a look at the actual pictures that Jag used, if I can actually find them, that is. I've got a load of stuff here. There we go. Stuff like this I was actually looking at for the spillways. That's when it's coming in here. And also, of course, on the wiki page, as Wikipedia is the centre of all knowledge, you also have like a line here where you got the threshold and touchdown zone, fixed markings, centre line, all that kind of stuff. But to be honest, most airports are completely different. As you can see here, Brussels kind of airport here, you can just see a couple of the little lines there. There's not really any sort of lines in between. at all. So everything is slightly different, so don't be worried if your airport isn't exact, as long as you put in some markings. I've pretty much just put in these ones and the big ones just to make it a little bit different, and it also means that when I'm counting out these blocks, it's a little bit easier for you guys to actually see. Now I'm still working on my lettering, so I'm still working on the 2 and 7, so 27. Obviously it's upside down, so it's pretty hard to read, but I have got 0, 9. Those are the easiest ones, so you know, the easier you go for with those ones, the better. Let's actually just zoom in here. So on the end bit, and I've used my kind of yellow hazard block, and this will correlate to, if we go back again and find, there we go, this one. So instead, I've just used the kind of hazard crosses because I wanted to get this out kind of as quick as possible for you guys, but I am planning on actually putting in these lines instead. I'll just show you what I've done for the box area. So the actual total runway itself is now huge. So if I bring us up to where it was before, yeah, so we were about 450, I think it was, which is just over here. There you go. So we were over here before, and that was it. As you can see, it got extended by quite a lot, and now I'm probably going to have to... I can just drag this over. So I just drag this all the way down here. I'll show you the actual full size of the thing, and yeah, it's a bit bigger. There you go. So it's now 47 blocks wide, and then it's 771 blocks long. So yeah, it's got extended by quite a bit just to make it look in scale, and I think you'll agree that it does now look a little bit more in scale, especially when I got those markings in. It still could do with, you know, adding a couple hundred, you know, meters, but I don't want to make it too big. I want to try and get this one done so I can move on to a big international airport all the way on Dakr City, because we've got like a small regional one here. I'm planning on doing a huge mega one over here, but this is kind of like a runner-up, and well, not really runner-up. This is kind of like a starting point for me, just to get into it, get all the knowledge, and hopefully give you guys that as well, so when I do go onto that, it'll be a little bit easier. So yeah, 771 blocks long. Holy hell, that is quite long. So anyway, with all of that, what I've done is I've got one layer of cobblestone or grey wool if you're on any of the other texture packs, and there's just a double line going all the way around it. So that's one thing you can do already, is just literally just do a double line of quartz or white wool and just border the entire thing, and that's all I did to begin anyway. And then on the inside of this, I have got a box which is 29 blocks long going this way, and then I had a double line of yellow. So this is just a double yellow line, and this part relates to this bit back here. You don't have to have this if you don't want to. What it's to do with is the blast way. So if you have jets and they're actually blasting and there's a lot of heat and things, it's basically just to be a little bit more secure, a little bit safer. So we've got that little bit there. Now this little section here actually does correlate to this part here. So this is where I'm actually planning on having the planes line up in a way and then take off. It also extends the runway a little bit, and just adds a little bit more space if they did need, for example, a bit of a bigger runway. And then what we have, and I'll try and actually select it from over here. There we go. Oh, there. And drag this over. So this actual section, I made 49 blocks going this way, just of grey, and then a double white line. And right here, what I did, you can see, so you've got 49 by 41, because we're just inside this, then just make a double white line. So if you guys are copying this, just basically just count that out for the time being, make a white line. Same with this part here, just make the double yellow line, and then that'll be your main runway from this part here, anything forwards of this. Now what I did, and I'll just show you guys this quickly, is I just went back from the center line, and I used this center line here, as you can see, and you can kind of quite clearly see it, especially when you start to get these, there we go, the big lines going down, just like you do on a road. I just went back one block, and then just went 1, 2, 3, 4 diagonal to get these ones, and in between these there's a 5 block gap, and then you would do it the same, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then just do exactly the same pattern there. So it's just got this 5 blocks of the cobblestone or grey wool. Now to get to the extra arrows, and I've got a couple here as you can see, what I did from this point, and blockwise we're counting back 7 blocks of your grey or your cobblestone, and then I just went 2, 2, 2, 2. So you've actually got those going out, and again, this will just be basically in line with these ones. So 7 blocks here, and then 2, 2, 2, 2. Now there's going to be a 3 block gap here, and then you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 I used in the end. So I decided to use 6 for those ones. And then what you're going to do is you're going to have 5 block gap, and then do the same. So this is just exactly the same, so you can just copy and paste it, just have 5 block gap. And I found that that just kind of scaled kind of correctly, and it was kind of to match up with this, and also having these lines. You could obviously have a yellow line going in the middle of it. I'm actually planning on putting that in after I've got the extra bit, and I've got all the curves kind of sorted, made sure that they all line up to where I want them to line up, and then I can just do a center line kind of curve, which will probably just come out here and then go up. So I'm going to do that kind of afterwards, but that kind of is the bit that's extra, and it's copy and pasted exactly the same on the other side, so that's pretty easy. Then what I've done, as you can see here, I've left 3 block gap, and then I've left 1 block gap, and I've had these big lines which are 3 by 27, so they're pretty much, well, quite similar to Jags, just very, very kind of scaled down, I guess. So you've just got 3 by 27, so 3 blocks from here. Then on the 4th, you just go count 27, make it 3 wide, and just leave a block, fill that in, leave a block, fill that in. And what that'll do is it'll actually make your center line 1 less, so you actually have your center line in between these two. Again, this was just easier. I just found it easier to actually, with this scaling, just to find exactly where that is. Now, this is where it's going to be a little bit more difficult to show you guys, because, well, you've got the actual lettering on it. What I'll do instead, for the time being, is just from here, empty space, we have got a total of 83 blocks. So, what I would do if I were you guys, I would just go 83 blocks in total here, and then just put some lines, just put 3 blocks on the 84th block. And that will give you this little space here where you can put in your lettering, and this will depend on whatever kind of font you want to use, or, and I say font kind of lightly, Minecraft is really difficult for lettering, but it will at least give you an idea on that. But then you've got this little space here to actually do it. What I'll do is I'll show you guys what exactly I did, though it's going to be just really difficult to explain. So here is my center line. So if I go from my center line to the actual block there, it's 17 blocks, and then I had a line going across, and to the left, if we count that one, so the 18th block, and counting that one, I just went across by 7. And again, if we count that middle block, and I just need to click away, there we go. If we count this block, I just went 4 this way. And this one here, so we've got this going across down here, I then just added on to this side part, so if we count that block again, right on that end piece, it just goes down by 11, and if we go up, it goes up by 13. Now, what it might actually be easier for me to do is, if I've just shown you where that is, so on the 14th block, oh not 14th, 18th block, I think it was, yeah, so 18th block, sorry guys, so the 18th block there, so that's the 18th, that's the 17th, you'll then get this, and what it might be worth if you want to do this is just to pause it right now, and actually I'll just grab that center line again, so there's your center line. Let's get a good angle for you guys to pause the video if you wanted to. And then from here, you should be able to count out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on that side. And then 1, 2, 3 going across this side, then you got your 2s. Hopefully that will make it a little bit easier. And this is your center line right here. Then if you've got that, what I've done for the 0, 9, and again, what I'll do is I'll have to go for center line wise. So go to here, and there we go, 5 block gap, and then it starts on this bit, and it's just 3 blocks from that center line going further. So you've got 5 here, then that's basically your little square, and then you've got 3 here. Now this one will be a little bit more difficult again, and I will put in that center line for you guys there, and then if I just zoom out, and hopefully you guys can get a nice screenshot there and just have a look at it, but I will just go through these lines here. So the longest line is a total of 19 blocks long, and the same on this one, 19 blocks long, but my lettering is 9 blocks wide, and it's a total area of 23, so it's 23 by 9. That's the kind of actual scaling I used to get these ones, like that. Now I've already counted out where this one is, so again, if you do want to have a look at that, there you go, 83 blocks kind of space or gap between those, and then I just have 3 blocks wide, and it's just 25, and this is where it gets really easy, because all I've done is just gone 25 here, a gap of 25, then 125, another gap, and then 25. So it's really, really easy, and depending on how many hundreds of meters, because then this section here is, 50 meters. So 2 of those is 100. So it makes it really easy to just add 100 meters to your runway, basically. That's what I wanted to do with this. So if I ever need to extend it, for example, if after I've built most of the airport, the terminal and things, and all that kind of stuff, if I need to actually extend it, it needs to be made longer scale-wise, I can just add a couple of these sections and it will just work. So what I did, and I'll just count out exactly how many of these are. So I got 1, then a space, 2, 3, 4, and then 5, 6, 7, 8 in total. And you can see that it kind of goes to the back. But just go into the center line, so right in the middle point where you would basically, well, what I did is I copy and pasted it, flipped it around. You would just go 1, 2, 3, and 4. And again, I will just bring this up here as soon as it loads. It does take a while to load because it is just on such a monumental scale. There we go. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4. This is your middle point right here. So on the other side you go 1, 2, 3, 4. But if you wanted to make it longer, just add in an extra 50 blocks or add in an extra couple between these two, and maybe just use this center line, or you can extend it from that center line. Pretty easy. So that's kind of why I wanted to do that. It just made it a little bit simpler for me. Now what I do have after the first one is when you go to this one here, you've got a couple extra little lines, an extra couple markings. So these are 25 blocks long, so it will fit perfectly in that gap. All I did is I gave a 2 block gap from the outside, and then just had 2 by 25, 2 block gap, 2 by 25, 2 block gap, 2 by 25. Pretty simple, just 3 lines on each side, just to put some markings in there. And that just happens after you've got the first big line, just have one right there. Then you got a gap, and then after your fourth, and well, kind of on your fourth, I guess. Now this is a little bit different. What you're going to have to do is find your center line now, because you've got 25 blocks in between here. Go to your 12th, and then from here you'll have your 13th. I don't know why I always do it this way, it just works for me. And that will kind of be where you get this gap here. You're actually going to have a 5 block gap, or 6 block gap between here, because it will give you a 6 block gap between the other side. And the actual total area of this one is 43 by 7. So I'm going to give you a couple pointers to where you can actually count back. So if we're on 12, you got 6. This will mean that from that center point here, or the center point between these two, you're just going to, either side of that. So this is the center point right here. You can have 21 blocks. That means on the other side, you have 21 blocks, which you can see here. Another way to count it, if you've got this center line here, you've got this middle one. If you go back by a total of, there we go, 9 blocks. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And you just pull that down and kind of skip 6 of those, and then you've just got your 7 by 43 blocks. Pretty easy. So hopefully that helps you guys. I know it's not exactly the episode I was expecting. I was expecting to start the terminal, but I wanted to get this out of the way. This means that you guys can actually have a look at yours, and also because I've done this in a way in a modular style. If I wanted to add 100 meters to it, I could just add an extra section of 50 on this side, an extra section of 50 on that side, and I've extended the runway. And actually, when I go higher, it kind of looks like my texture pack, which is weird. But if it works, but yeah, hopefully that's helped you guys. What I'm going to be doing kind of next episode is I'm actually not going to be pushing this as a piece. I'm actually not going to be pushing that into the kind of ground, I guess. I'm actually going to keep that up floating. As you can see, this is the actual area I've got to work with. If I just try and zoom up, there we go. So if I actually zoom up to this point, you can kind of see where I'm planning on putting it. And I'm actually planning on putting it somewhere in here. So, yeah, it's in a bit of a weird place. Why am I doing it over here, you might ask? It's because of the houses. It will actually hit into the houses, and it means I have to move what I've started on, at least. And I don't feel like doing that this time. But thanks for watching, guys. Kind of tell me your input as well, or whatever your ideas are, as I'm reading loads of the comments on these, and it's really helping me out as well with building my one. But hopefully that's given you some dimensions that you can do. I actually completely forgot. Yeah, the 27 that I've gone for so far. As you can see, it doesn't look quite right. But again, centerline is here if you did want to look at it. And if you did want to pause it, maybe you can do that now. But again, it's 5 blocks from that R. So hopefully that helps as well. Hopefully so. And it's all exactly the same, so it's exactly the same kind of dimensions of size that I used on those. It's just a little bit difficult to get the 2 and the 7. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully it won't take anywhere near as long to get out another episode of this, as I want to get this a really kind of common series on my channel. As I really want to get this airport kind of built. I want to have a big airport like that actually done, so I can use that to plan an even bigger one, probably about 2,000 meters long, something like that, about 2 kilometers, runways, you know, those kind of things. Thanks for watching, guys. Give me your ideas in the comments, and I'll see you on the next one.